Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to make a kind of video that I've never really made before. I'm going to look at a Japanese deck that is doing incredibly well and kind of discuss some strategies that you can implement to beat it. I'm doing this for a few reasons. The first reason is because I think it might be genuinely useful for us to get ahead of the meta before EX6 comes, and this is a good time to do it because they're in EX6 right now, they as in Japan, and they are testing everything for us, which is handy for now until everything amalgamates into one global release. But until then, this is useful. Another reason why I want to do this is because, as you guys know, and what I've alluded to, I eventually want to make like a daily podcast type of content, and I think covering Japanese content basically, while again we're not amalgamated, might be really beneficial and good podcast material. So that's why I'm trying to make this video now. Now, I'm not known for this. There are other content creators in the space that are known for this, and everyone knows who they are, and you can go there and watch their videos, and that's fine. But I'm going to take my crack at it and to see what you guys think. So if there was any time I ever needed your input about something, this is one of those times. So if you like this video, let me know in the comments. If you don't like this video or you have a way that I could improve it, let me know in this video. The goal is to make it as... I want you to be able to listen to this video, not necessarily watch this video if you don't want to, but listen to it so that you can understand, what works and what doesn't work. And I think I can do that in these kind of videos. And I'll obviously subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot, and that would be really cool. And hopefully this kind of video does well. We'll find out. It's a trial run. I have no idea. But your input would be greatly appreciated. And we're going to start by talking about 7 Great Demon Lords. If you go through Digimon Meta, if you go through the website, you'll notice that in EX6, 7 Great Demon Lords is winning and having the highest top percentage over any other deck in EX6. It is definitely the best deck in the format, and it's important to understand how it works. So kind of like how Royal Knights has Yggdrasil, we have the Gate of Deadly Sins in the 7 Great Demon Lord deck. Has a breeding ability where you place the top card Digi-Egg as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card and delete all of your Digimon. If this effect deleted, place one card of the 7 Great Demon Lords trait from your trash as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card. So it's kind of like a messed up King Drazzle, basically. It brings something from trash underneath it. So it gives you more toolboxing. So that's pretty cool. Also has an end opponent's turn effect by deleting this Digimon with 7 or more cards with different names as Digivolution cards. You may play one Ogudamon from your trash without paying the cost. And what's really cool about that is it's end of opponent's turn, which means you can summon the Ogudamon and then attack that turn, which is really interesting. And then of course it has its inheritable from breeding. Once per turn, when one of your Digimon with the 7 Great Demon Lords trait would be played, you may reduce the play cost by 3. If the Digimon has 5 or more cards with different names on the Digivolution cards, reduce the play cost by 4 instead. And yeah, these stack, and it's really powerful. Kind of like how King Drazzle stacks with the Royal Knights. Similar thing going on here. So we know that this deck is all about building 7 sources with different names underneath it so that you can crack it at the end of opponent's turn and play a Gudamon. But what does Gudamon actually do? Well, it's essentially your win button in the deck. You can manually evolve it on a 7 Great Demon Lord card, cost 6, level 5, level 6. So you can evolve it if you want to. And that's just pretty good itself. And as a win Digivolving when attacking ability, not once per turn by the way, you may place up to 7 cards with different names and 7 Great Demon Lords trait from your trash as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution cards. If you place 4 or more cards with this effect, delete one opponent's Digimon or Tamers. And then has another one attacking effect that reads, by returning 7 cards with different names and 7 Great Demon Lord trait from this Digimon's Digivolution cards to the bottom of the deck, delete 7 of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers, then trash the top 7 cards of opponent's security stack. For each card deleted by this effect, reduce the cards trashed by 1. So basically, if you attack with a Gudamon and the second one attacking ability blows up 2 cards, you trash 5 security, which is basically game ending, right? That's basically how that works. This body, this Agudamon, is simply meant to appear on the board and automatically win the game. He's just your end game, final turn win button. A very, very powerful effect that just basically ends the game. Because if you have blockers up, they can't be interacted with because you're going to blow them up, unless it's impervious, like Magna X or whatever. And you burn security cards, which is pretty crazy. So you don't trigger all those pesky removal options. So that's the main point of the deck with those cards. Now, it does have a fun little suite of Demon Lords that have come out in this set, as well as previous ones that see a lot of play, like Leviamon X and Leviamon from their original sets. Things like the original Lucamon Chaos Mode, Baphomet Sleep Mode, the original one. A lot of people do play Beel's X. This particular list doesn't have a Beel's X, that's fine. But you can play whatever Demon Lords you basically want to play. And as long as they have different names, you're fine. That's why the ones with X Antibody in the name are really cool. It's also why you see Baphomet Rage Mode and Baphomet Sleep Mode, because they have different names. So you're just basically trying to get as many different names as possible, up to 7. That's the whole name of the game. And they have an interesting, essentially equivalent of World Purge of the Knights, or World Knights of the Purge, I should say. It's a 4-drop option, Ascent of the 7 Great Demon Lords. It has a main effect where you may place one Digimon card, the 7 Great Demon Lords trait, from your hand or trash as the bottom Digivolution card of the Gate of Deadly Sins in your breeding area. Then place it in the battle area, and has a delay effect when one of your Digimon, the 7 Great Demon Lords, is deleted, you delay as all turns. You may play one Digimon card with the 7 Great Demon Lords trait from the Digivolution cards of your Gate of Deadly Sins in your breeding area without playing the cost. So it's an incredible toolbox deck, just like Royal Knights, but I'd argue more consistent, because you can put things from trash underneath it. You don't have to use hand advantage, which is really cool. And you can play some cards that mill you, like Mist and Memory Boost and Beelzemons, and it's just really powerful, okay? Now, what are some ways that you can get ready to beat this deck? Because this is one of those decks where you either have to play this deck, or you have to make sure that the deck you play can really just beat it up. Well, there are cards like Psychmon, the floodgates that read players can't reduce play costs. Just like how this card is good against Royal Knights, it's also good against this deck, because the Gate of Deadly Sin operates by reducing play cost. Psychmon does stop that. You can also play the floodgates that prevent cards from being played by card effects, such as the Pillowmon, because if you read the end of opponent's turn effect of Gate of Deadly Sins, you may play one Agudamon from your trash without paying the cost. It plays it by effect. So if the gate is ready to go, but your opponent on their turn drops the Pillowmon, well, all of a sudden you can't bring out your Agudamon to win the game. So cards like that could be really annoying. And in most EX6 decks, you see some combination of cards that try to stop that. That is one way to beat this deck, just well-timed floodgates. Now, the Demon Lord deck does play multiple ways to out these cards. Some decks play things like Porcupamon from BT13, the On-Plan Deletion Papa level 3. You have things like, Biting Crush or Rivals Barrage. Some decks play 7-star Cluster to pop the lowest card. So they play ways to get rid of these floodgates, because you have to be able to get rid of the floodgates. It's really important. And some of the Demon Lords can just appear on the board and get rid of the floodgates as well. So it's definitely like a winnable strat, but Demon Lord players will learn to expect that and counteract and devise ways to beat that in your main deck. But what else could you do? Well, you could play just some quick aggro decks that basically outspeed 7 Great Demon Lords. Things like Magnamon Armor Rush is still popping off in Japan in EX6 format with like fire rockets and all that stuff. You're basically just going to OTK them, and when you can't OTK them, you control everything with Magnamon X Antibody, BT16, which, as you guys know, is an insane card. But it doesn't stop there. There are other aggro decks as well, such as the Numon deck. The Numon deck, which is in full force in EX6 Japan, also wins a bunch of Japanese tournaments. And they have the strats to just go really, really aggro with things like Ukamon and Louis, not to mention Numamons with Rush. Like, the deck can definitely, as you guys know in BT15 meta, can just quickly end the opponent's game. You can win turn 3. You can do that, if you do really well. So that's one way to do it. Just outspeed them and beat them up before they can do anything about it. The final strategy you can try to implement is by playing more of a control-oriented build. You know that most of the Demon Lords are viruses, so something like BT14 Angemon that can just put a virus card into security instead of hand or trash, for instance, it might be really annoying for the Demon Lord player. That's one way to do it. And then you have things like Rapid Mon X, and you have Magna Mon X, and you have Heaven's Judgment, and another suite of removal options if you decide to use them. You know, you can play a yellow control deck or some other different variant of a control deck. You know, Mastermon has one or two good showings in Japan. They play Chaos Degradation. That's a really good way, again, to stop Demon Lords. You know, put their stuff in security. It's a really, really popular thing to do. And of course, being yellow, you can play Pillowmons with no issues at all. So there are definitely ways to defeat the 7 grade Demon Lord deck. It's all about getting prepared now and starting to think about it now. Because if there's no ban list before we get EX6 at the end of June in North America, you can bet that 7 grade Demon Lords is probably going to be the best deck of the format over here as well. Or maybe by then the North American players will come up with a really solid counter strategy for the deck and put it in the grave whenever they play against it. I know that I'm already thinking about it. And in my circle of people, both locally and on the internet, people are finding ways to get ready for this format because 7 grade Demon Lords is just taking over that much in Japan. It's just really powerful. Now, it has tapered off a little bit in Japan. It used to top very, 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 very consistently, and now it's only topping consistently. So, you know, there's definitely ways to defeat the 7 grade Demon Lord deck. It's not impossible. Don't get discouraged. But this video is just meant to get your guys thinking about it and think about different methods that you could use to defeat the 7 grade Demon Lords deck. But that'll do for today's video, everyone. What do you guys think about this format of video? Do you like this? Would you rather I do something else? Or would you rather I do the same thing but change it up slightly? Let me know your feedback in the comment section, and I will see you guys next time. Have a good day!